and greetings to everyone. This is your boy Baka with a small brain review of our first map against Carbon, or first round rather. So thank you all for joining the games. Yesterday night, it was a difficult evening for us for various reasons, but the important thing is to get down to practice a lot more than we have done so far, and to actually see and figure out what mistakes we made. So my goal with this small brain review is to analyze a few team fights and what we can do better in the future. Obviously, our roster is rather inexperienced, and we were also missing a main tank. So I was stepping up as the main tank this evening. So it was a different scenario than it will usually or hopefully be in the future. So what do I want to look at specifically? The key part of analyzing these fights and games is checking first picks. Best case scenario, we get a first pick because our strategy was good, or focus fire was good. Worst case scenario, the enemy gets a first pick because we made a very bad noobish mistake. So I would like to see what our first picks or the enemy team's first picks were and how we reacted to the events that evolved in the fight. The other very important thing is movement and rotation on the maps. Obviously, we have noticed that we are not quick enough. We have to work on this. It's as easy and as difficult as it may sound. We have to practice our rotations and our movement. So, that being said, let's check our first rotation, how we started the fight. So, the call was, on my part, to go straight to point on the left side of the spawn. What we can accomplish by this is to surprise the enemy team and to apply point pressure. So if we are on the point first, then we have a small advantage.
Round 1. Capture the objective.
So at this point, we are the first team on the point. What we accomplished by doing this is that we can fight on the point, and if the enemy team wants to actually capture the point, first they have to defeat us. So they really need to be more proactive, and we can just be reactive because we were the first team on the point. Like, we have a better ground, we can engage when we want. If we don't want to engage, we can just sit on the point, and we only have to wait for the enemy team. So, well done. We did this pretty well. But what will happen in the first fight is not going to be really good for Brainstorm. Let's check it first in real time.
Get through this.
The objective is now active.
So basically what happened here is Carbon decided to roll over us, and we couldn't do anything against it. But let's check it in a much lower speed. And maybe from this camera angle it's going to be a little bit better. So what will happen here is that them will be picked. It's a very random pick. What happened, I guess, is that he got a headshot by a Mei and a Lucio. Baka is checking if the enemy team was on the left side. No, they aren't. So
Get through this.
the goal was to kill the enemy main tank first. So that was the basic goal. Now you can see that there is a Reaper TPing above our heads, and them will be picked very shortly. So them is picked, it's a 5v6. First pick goes to Carbon, we don't have a main healer, so we either need to retreat or finish the enemy team off very quickly. So most likely Baka hasn't realized that Ana got picked, and now he is getting walled off, first time of many during the evening. But the enemy Rhine is around 50% HP, so Baka remains very committed. Amlu is trying to help him out, but BVK, the beast who destroyed us on Riato, is already jumping on our backline. Now Ruby should be able to defense matrix BVK. The D.Va's job in this composition is basically to protect the Reinhardt. If the Reinhardt gets walled off, then the defense matrix can go through the wall and protect the Reinhardt. Also, the D.Va can easily fly over the wall, so that's why the D.Va is very important in this composition. The other important job of D.Va is to eat ultimates, Reaper ultimate, Mei ultimate. So eating ultimates, and the third very important job is to just protect the backline from these kinds of Reaper attacks. Of course, our backline now consists of McCree and a Reaper who should be able to kill BVK by themselves, but as you can see, Ruby very nicely defense matrixing. Also, there was a fire strike that he could eat in the first moments of this fight. So far, well done. But the enemy team is on Baka, and he's getting charged, he's getting killed. And now Amlu will be very brave, jumps into the entire enemy team. Don't worry, she's going to survive. But so will BVK. And basically, it's a 4v6 scenario. Ruby will be killed easily. So we should just retreat and give up this fight. So that's it for the first fight. What I will call second fight is going to happen here. Now let's see how we group up. Now we haven't talked about this so far, so it's my mistake if we don't do it in this game. The best advice that we got regarding grouping up after a lost team fight is to group up at spawn. In an environment where teams are organized, they will push you at spawn, they will punish you if you peek, and unfortunately we will see this in this fight. So of course we haven't discussed it, so it's my mistake. But you can see that Martin very smartly decided to get back, and he's actually getting back to spawn. But then he decides to get some ult charge. And now the fight will happen very soon. Martin is picked. Wall comes up. Baka charges. Baka dies. And even though we got 2 picks, we lost the fight. So let's look at this fight in a much slower way. First from... I want to check Martin's perspective. And in a lower speed. So now Reinhardt is in front of Martin. He could rejoin the team. Very nice. So if you remember, the team was still scattered, so the engagement didn't start. But Martin was picked, so it was a little bit over enthusiastic from Martin. He tried to charge his ultimate, he tried to do damage, or he thought that the engagement was on. What we will do to prevent things like this is that before a push, the Reinhardt will also always say we will push in 3, 2, 1, go, and that's when the engagement will start. I don't remember if it happened in this engagement, but it doesn't matter. These things should not happen. So essentially, it's another 5v6 fight for Brainstorm, which is obviously not good, but let's see what happens. So it's a nice fire strike from Baka.
Locking them off.
The wall comes off, but we should be able to survive it easily. Now, crucial mistake. The wall wasn't the best. But now Baka is in a bad position with only 1000 shield remaining, but there's a Reaper that he should be protecting. The Reaper is on his left, so he shouldn't have dropped his shield in the first place. And shouldn't have started swinging in the second place. Now Reaper is big. And now this charge is not very smart. Actually, it looks worse than it should. Harsh should have been grabbed by this charge, but it didn't happen. So now Baka decides to swing even more. So what you will see here is very bad shield management. My shield, or Baka's shield, is almost full. And now he decides to use it. Another fire strike. So the Reinhardt died with more than 1000 shield remaining. That should never happen. So very, very bad plays from Baka here. One DPS got picked because there was no countdown, or the engagement wasn't called well enough. That's 5v6. Then the Reaper is not protected well enough. That's 4v6. And even though them can get 2 picks in this fight, it's still a lost fight for Brainstorm. Now the others are retreating very well. Now again grouping up. In this case, grouping up around this location is acceptable because, as I said before, we got 2 picks, so Ryan and May are just joining their teams. Carbon players are very smart, retreating to the point, and the Lucio is taxing the remaining players. So now grouping up here is the correct choice. We are close to our spawn, and we only need to wait for Ryan basically. So Brainstorm will now push onto the point. So this was a very, very scrappy team fight that Brainstorm actually won. Actually, these were basically 2 separate team fights. So let's talk about them in more detail. Now, due to the 2 picks that we got, we know that we can push freely to the point, and the enemy team is still regrouping. So now Baka will find a Reaper in his face. Yes, hammer, shield, nice. So the shatter will be used, but it's going to be blocked by the Zarya, so only the Mei will be affected by the shatter. Very big brain play by one pushman to block the shatter. Maybe it was only luck, but if not, big reaction times. Now I want you to notice that the Mei is stunned.
Boosters engaged.
What happens here is that BVK is pushing into our backline, or rather Anna, Reinhardt, somebody along those lines, and Martin is going to break off from the team and try to finish off the Mei. Now we have a good grenade from them. It's a defensive grenade. It is going to work well because it's going to save Baka, who was charged. Now pretty good lamp from Barcha on Carbon team. It's going to keep the Rhine and the Reaper alive until they can be healed again. But we get the first pick, so first pick of the fight goes to Brainstorm. I would say that this was a random charge into a group of enemies, so it wasn't a very good game plan, but it still worked. And as you can see, Martin was able to finish off the Mei with a stun. So it's a 4v6 fight. But as you can see, our backline is in very big danger, and Harsh is going to use his shatter. So shatter onto the backline. Harsh finishes off 2 targets, but he will miss ammo. And now basically the 2 carbon tanks are fighting Ruby and Amno. But Harsh is very low HP, so Ruby will kill him. And in the other team fight, first of all, Martin will finish off Bloodbath, and then the 2 healers remain, who will be killed by Martin and Baka easily.
No stopping me.
So it was a chaotic fight. Now the only job that we have remaining is to finish off 1 pushman and to taxi or dead players back. So let's see how we do that. We'll look at Amlu's view. So first we need to finish off 1 pushman. And then we need to taxi our players. Let's see what Amlu does. Yes, she's going back to the spawn, taxiing our players, but Reaper is already on point. At least them gets a little bit of speed boost. Okay, so the next fight, I will call it the force fight. There is a very big advantage that Carbon has in this fight, is this fact: Ruby has no mech, so it's essentially a 5v6 fight. It's not going to be great for Brainstorm.
Огонь по готовности!
So let's break down this fight in more detail. and much lower speed, so we can discuss everything that happens. So, line of engagement, this corner. Let's look at the ultimates. Of course, we saw them used. So on Brainstorm we have Deadeye and Sound Barrier. On the other side we have a Grav, we have the May ultimate, we have the Reaper ultimate, and we also have the Batis ultimate. So ultimates really on Carbon's side, but actually we do a decent, almost decent job in this fight. So Baka is very separated from the team and very low HP, so that's obviously something that needs to be worked on. Again, the engagement may not have been called in time or at all, so that's really something that we need to work on. When the Reinhardt engages, these things shouldn't really happen.
Огонь по готовности!
Now the Grav is used by one pushman.
It's high noon.
And a very nice defensive Deadeye from Martin. Baka is getting saved by them. And there's also a Sound Barrier, so besides the Great Grenade, the Sound Barrier and the Deadeye, it's like it's not as bad as it may look. But you know what's going to be very crucial in this fight is that we don't have the mech. The Reaper is above us,
Draw.
jumping on our heads, getting his ultimate, and now we only get the mech at this moment. So what's going to happen? Plus its Q. So you can see that Ruby is reacting very well. He knows that the defense matrix needs to be used, but because he didn't have the mech, it was too late for Brainstorm, so we are just cleaned up by the Reaper. So a very important thing that we need to always remember if we play D.Va is that if you lose your mech in a team fight and you won't get it back, this is where you need to go. The 3-second cooldown on the boosters is going to help you get back quickly from spawn.
I'm back in the fight. Maybe next time.
So resetting as D.Va is a very important skill to learn.
Practice.
Who's next?
Team kill.
So, fifth fight is going to happen here. Let's see what happens in this fight.
Game on.
Grouping up, pretty nice. Except that Martin is going on an entirely different direction. And when the engagement is starting, he's nowhere near his team.
Routing power to forward shield.
So, Baka is pushing in like a madman, and he's getting walled off. He's getting charged.
I'm gonna have to shoot you down.
So, what happened here? Both tanks got pigged. The timer is very near its end. So in reality what happened is that my internet, or Baka's internet died. So he just started walking into the enemy team. But let's pretend that this didn't happen. Reinhardt was pushing in.
Power to forward shield.
The team was following him. That's very smart, but the distance was too big. So there was no way to save Reinhardt. It's a 5v6 fight. So first pick went to Carbon again with a May wall. Now our D.Va is going to be picked. and Carbon could really just jump on us, but they are very, very conservative, so they are not jumping on us. Clock starts ticking very soon. Ruby should be going towards. So what we have to do now is Ruby needs to jump into the sea, and Brainstorm has to figure out how to touch the point. As we can see, Ruby is not resetting, so essentially the last fight will be a 5v6 fight, but Martin gets picked, so it's getting even worse. So, the remaining members of Brainstorm will try to get onto the point.
Oh, yeah!
This is a very, very good TP by Muffin, so well done on that. And actually, his Reaper ultimate will be pretty nice. Well, both Reinhardts have Shatter, but for some reason I fail to block Harsh's Shatter, so shield is up. Maybe I dropped the Shatter just one moment sooner than I should have, so we get Shattered.
Oh!
But Muffin can save us with the Reaper.
Vamos esculachar!
Overtime.
So it was a bit unfortunate that I couldn't block the Shatter. And Muffin's Reaper ultimate was very, very nice. Trollsy's sound barrier was a little bit too late, so the 4 members of Brainstorm did really well, almost really well. So again, Reinhardt mistake. So Muffin will finish off Blada as well. And it's basically the two of them.
Target practice.
Nerf this!
Hammer down!
So, key lessons. We have to move together a lot better. Like, first step, grouping up adequately. This last fight, Martin got picked, Ruby had no mech, so it was essentially a 4v6 fight. Secondly, the engagements have to start better. We really have to count down every engagement, and we really need to utilize our shields. We saw that Martin was picked because he didn't hide behind the shield, then Baka couldn't protect Muffin because he didn't use his shield. So the movement part has to be improved. Yes, I think that's the most important thing. Yeah. So thank you all for watching this video, and I don't know if I will have time to review any more maps, and I also cannot play Overwatch only 6 games because the replays will expire. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and see you in practice sessions hopefully rather soon.